In 2005, Pratibha Murthy, a woman living in the capital of Karnataka, Bengaluru, was employed at HP Global Soft, a multinational company's BPO office located in Phase Roman 2 of Electronic City. Pratibha's shift was often at night. Starting at 2 am, the company provided transportation to bring all night shift employees from their homes to the office, so Pratibha also took the company cab to get to work. Apart from Pratibha, only her mother lived with her. In 1977, on May 16th, Pratibha's father had been cooking on a gas stove when it suddenly exploded, leading to his death. At the time, Pratibha was only 15 days old. After that, her mother, Gauri Amma, worked hard to raise and educate Pratibha, eventually helping her secure a good position at HP Global Soft's BPO. Prior to starting this job, Pratibha had married a man named Srinivas Shetty, who also worked at a BPO for a multinational company called Oquin Finance, located in Koramangala. Srinivas and Pratibha had a love marriage. Shortly after their wedding, Pratibha began working at HP Global Soft. Everything was going well, and her mother was happy to see her daughter progressing in life. However, after her marriage, Pratibha split her time between her mother's house and her in-laws' home, as her mother lived alone. Then, on the dreadful night of December 13th, 2005, Pratibha had only been at her job for a few months, and it was her usual night shift. The company sent a cab to pick her up that night. She was staying with her in-laws and called her mother, as she did every day, to let her know that she was ready to leave for work. A few minutes before 2 am, a cab arrived at Kumaraswamy Layout, and the driver called Pratibha, saying, "Sister, please come outside. The car has arrived." The driver referred to her as sister, and she called him brother in return. There were several drivers in the company, each assigned different shifts, and Pratibha knew all of them and had saved their numbers on her phone. Pratibha got into the car, and it began its journey to the office, which took about 30 to 35 minutes. She would usually send a message to her mother upon reaching the office so that her mother could sleep peacefully. However, that night, Gauri Amma fell asleep before receiving Pratibha's message. When she woke up in the morning, she checked her phone but found no message from Pratibha. She tried calling her, but Pratibha's phone was switched off. Gauri Amma continued calling several times, but each time, Pratibha's phone remained off. Finally, she called Pratibha's husband, Srinivas, who confirmed that Pratibha had left for her office that night. He assumed that Pratibha had switched off her phone due to work. But Gauri Amma was not satisfied with these explanations. She had the number for Pratibha's office and called there, only to be told by the receptionist that Pratibha had not shown up for her shift. Worried, Gauri Amma immediately went to the police station and reported everything. Given the circumstances of a missing woman, the Bengaluru police quickly took action. They went to Pratibha's office, where the staff were also surprised because Pratibha had left for work but never arrived. Her co-workers informed the police that if Pratibha ever missed work, she would either submit a prior application or inform them over the phone. However, that day, she had not informed anyone at the company. The police considered that Pratibha must have taken the company cab at 2 am and wouldn't have boarded a vehicle she didn't recognize. She could have done it, and the driver of the car must have been someone she knew. The police began questioning all the cab drivers working at that company, one by one. During the investigation, they learned that a driver named Vishal used to pick up Pratibha every day at around 2 am and drop her off after her shift. Upon learning this, the police detained Vishal for questioning. Vishal said that, as usual, he went to pick up Pratibha that night. But when he arrived, he was told that she had already left in another car. This raised questions. Since it was Vishal's duty to pick her up, how could another driver have gone to get her? The other drivers were all on their respective shifts, so who was the driver who went to Pratibha's home that night? The police were puzzled because every driver confirmed they hadn't gone to her home. The police then retrieved a list of drivers absent or on leave that night. News of Pratibha's disappearance spread to the media, and pressure on the police increased. On December 13th, the case was handed over to the crime branch, who began by examining Pratibha's phone records. The last call made to Pratibha's phone was from a man named Shivkumar, a driver who had also frequently picked her up. Interestingly, Shivkumar's name was on the list of drivers absent that night. This raised suspicions, so the crime branch collected his contact details and address from the company and proceeded to question his acquaintances for his whereabouts. 2 days passed since Pratibha went missing, and although police searched everywhere, Shivkumar couldn't be located. However, they eventually reached his room in Bengaluru on the evening of December 14th. They heard the TV playing from inside and knocked on the door. To their surprise, Shivkumar himself opened it, with news of Pratibha's disappearance playing on the TV. He was then taken to the station for questioning. Initially, Shivkumar denied involvement, insisting he hadn't even been to work that day. But the police, armed with strong evidence, pressed on. Late on December 15th, they offered him leniency for cooperation, and Shivkumar finally confessed. He admitted that on the night of December 1st, he had called Pratibha out of her house around 2 a.m., picked her up, and drove her to a secluded area on Kanakapura Road. There, he attempted to assault her. Seeing a police patrol car nearby, Pratibha felt a glimmer of hope, but Shivkumar threatened her into silence, brandishing a knife. When the police car passed without investigating, he went on to assault her before ending her life and disposing of her body in a nearby drain. Afterward, he returned home and tried to act as if nothing had happened. Once the truth came out, there was widespread outrage, and the people of Karnataka demanded justice. Shivkumar was tried in a fast-track court, charged with kidnapping, rape, and murder. In October 2010, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole, but in 2016, he appealed the decision. Ultimately, in March 2023, the Supreme Court reduced his sentence to 30 years, granting him an opportunity for eventual release. The story is shared here not to unsettle, but to raise awareness. Please share your thoughts in the comments, and if you appreciated the effort put into sharing this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.